back to She2She. We're so excited for our second episode. And, just to remind you, we are two women sharing real life experiences, the joys, the valleys, but also moments of finding hope. Because as women, we just need to inspire one another, right? We need to inspire one another so that we may rise from the ashes of our past and be the women we wish to be for ourselves, but also our village. I'm Sharice Turman.
And I'm Tashima Kennard. Welcome to today's podcast. Our topic for today is going to be, don't let the hard days derail your vision, right? So last time we talked about, our first episode, we talked about how to your next chapter and how to get there and kind of navigate through that. So this time we're going to talk about, those hard days that are sure to come, right? So we can't escape them, but don't let them derail your vision, right? Yeah. And so me and Sharice have had numerous conversations just in our own personal journey. So we want to kind of talk about that today, talk about how we've navigated through that, and hope to inspire you when those hard days do come. Keep your eyes on the prize, keep going towards your goal. You will get there. So, absolutely. Yeah.
Seriously, we're talking as women, but let's just be honest, as humans, I don't care who you are, what gender you are, like, you're always going to have or be faced with some challenge. But the key is like, don't allow that to like totally throw you off and make you stop doing or achieving that vision. Because let me tell you, there's no benefit in giving up on yourself.
True.
Right? When you really think about it, step back for a second, there is zero benefit to that. So it's like, okay, the hard moment has arrived. So what am I going to do with that hard moment? And I'll, in this recording, share a little bit about my perspective, because just like a year ago, I remember being in that situation of like, this is so hard and I can't do this. Like all of the ugly cry tears and all of that stuff. My first year in real estate was great. I had a smooth sailing. Everything was easy. I had very little obstacle, if anything. And then year two, it was like, it was just bananas, and the market got even more competitive. And I just had moments of like, oh my gosh, like all of these rocky roads and all of these obstacles and my clients are struggling. Some of them were struggling because the market was so competitive, and this market that we're in, seller's market, you have 30 offers on a house. It only takes one offer to win. So it's kind of like winning the lottery. So I had a lot of moments like that last year where I was just like, oh my God, what's happening, right? But we'll share our experiences there, because the bottom line is not to allow, we keep saying, don't let the hard days derail you. And you have to remember that we're committed to ourselves, right? In this process, we've committed to the vision. So we have to stay committed in the ups and the downs.
And that's hard, right? So I think I was reading something this week and it was talking about, and it probably was even last night. I read a lot of, self-help books and just a lot of nonfiction books. And, I was watching, something on Netflix with Viola Davis, her new interview with Oprah, and it's wonderful. So please watch it if you haven't. It's very inspirational. However, it was talking about, those hard days. So they are going to come. And a lot of times we make commitment to other people, we make commitment to other things, and we find that kind of easy to do, but to commit to ourselves is another thing. Why is that so hard to commit to yourself, right? When you should be honoring yourself first so that you can be all those things to other people as well as to other things that you want to do. And so, it's navigating that. And as Sheree said, having that commitment to yourself first, committing to yourself first, doing the things that you said that you would do for yourself. And I know it's hard as women, we wear many hats as mom, as wives, as business women, and we are committed to every other thing but ourselves.
Oh my gosh, you are absolutely right. We're really great at stretching ourselves thin, and then leaving ourselves empty.
Yes.
in the process, which is not cool. And I think one of the growth things for me over the course of my adult life was to be okay with saying no, right? Being
Yeah.
okay with like, no, 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 I am no one's superwoman and I am okay with that, right? So like being able to say no and okay with that and walking away with that's just what it is. So that is, and also too, sometimes as human beings, as women, we tend to allow, like there's the external influences or the external
Yes.
distractions, right? Of family, competing demands, all of the things that we have on our plate from a family perspective, all of that. But then there's also internal things that's happening that we have to be conscious of as we are going through things. Sometimes though, it's fear, right? There's undercurrents of
Yes.
fear, undercurrents of not really truly believing in yourself and believing that you deserve it. There is mismanagement of time. There's all sorts of things, judgment about yourself or allowing others to judge you, that while you might have other things happening, you have those undercurrents internally that then you start to create this narrative about why you should step back, right?
Yes.
So a lot of times, and most times, I was guilty of this. I would put literal things in front of me. I would create the
Yes.
story about why I can't move forward, why this isn't the right time, whether it's money, whether it's not enough time. I would just create excuses. And that's really what it is, ladies. It is excuses in many cases, right?
But it's a lot of times it's fear too, right? So, we all know that doubt's going to come, fear is going to come. Sometimes we create those things for ourselves to stop us out of fear of moving forward. Again, that unknown of moving into your next chapter, whatever that is, plays into this part as keeping your, on those hard days, keeping your vision clear. And so, there's a quote that and you talked about judgment of others and taking on others' opinions. When you share your vision, when you're vulnerable and share your vision with others, and they may say, girl, you can't do that. Or why do you think, 10 other people do that or 100 other people do that? Why is your idea different, right? And so, there's a quote that I wrote down that I have posted on my bathroom. I have stickies all over the place. And it says, man doesn't get to vote on who I am. God has already defined me. And so you're already defined. Your path is already set forth in front of you. So when those hard days show up, as they surely will, right? When that doubt shows up, when that fear shows up, just remember your end goal, remember your why, and keep moving forward. And I think that's something that we have to tell ourselves as we're striving to get to our vision, to get to the goals that we set for ourselves.
That's so true. I love that. I love that quote. And on that same line of fear, it is really an imaginary thing in our heads. It is
Definitely.
false evidence, as they say, false
Appearing
evidence
real.
appearing real. We give it life. So what we
Yes.
really should be fearing is fear itself, right?
Yes.
Because if you fear the fear itself, it's like, no, 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 no. This is not how it's going down, right?
Yes.
I am going to move forward. Why? Because I am committed to me. And like I said, it really is, it doesn't serve me. And think about when you go back to the why, like you said, Tashima, like when you go back to that why, well, why did you set out on this anyway?
Yes.
Right? I'm sure it was for you. I'm sure it was for your village, right? Your family, your children, all the folks that you are to bless. You have to remember the calling that you have on you. So if you remember that, then don't deny what it is that you already have inside, that whether you believe in God put that in you, then don't deny it, right? You have got to believe, because if not believing in you is not believing in what God has put in you, right? So you have to remember that direct line, and what you're really doing is really believing that you don't deserve it. You're believing that you can't have it, and you have to begin to change the narrative in your mind. And so what I started to do when I was going through that hard time last year, I was literally like, feeling in despair, because, my job is always to do the best I could possibly do, go above and beyond. Even when I was in my corporate days, I was always of that mindset. And the one thing that I've learned over the course of my adult life, I would say the last 10 years or so, was that even through the obstacle, actually the obstacle gives me fire. It gives me the energy. And I actually do the opposite of, instead of stopping, it actually fuels me. It fuels
Mhm.
me to keep going forward. So I'm looking, it's almost like staring the devil in its, or hitting the devil on his head, saying,
Yeah.
yes, this is before me at this moment, but no, 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 is it going to stop me? And so for me, when I'm going through something, when I'm going through hard times, when I'm going through challenges, I literally say, okay, Cherise, what now? So
Yeah.
when you ask yourself what now, it forces you to think. It forces you to begin to do. It forces your mind to work. Instead of saying it's not working, which is just a statement of it's not working. Okay, it's not working, but what now? So it makes my mind have to work at figuring it out and sitting down and and doing what I have to do to go figure it out, because everything is figure outable, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you have to do a self inventory of whether it's fear that's stopping you, that whether you're creating narratives that really shouldn't, that is hurting you. And you have to do a self inventory of that, and then figure it out from there and say, okay, when I have that thought about the fear, when I have that thought about maybe I don't deserve it, when I have that thought, you literally have to have conversations in your mind and say, no, stop the thought in the moment. Stop the thought
Yeah.
in the moment and say, absolutely. And I am deserving of it. It is mine. I feel it. It is right here with me. Like all of the things, you have to call that feeling to you of you already having it. Tashima, you said on our first call that our last week's episode, where you have to put on the armor, you have to dress the part, you have to believe
Yeah.
that you have
Like
it
it's
right
already
here.
showed up.
It's all, yeah. And what you do is you call those blessings to you. So whether you're lacking resources financially, okay, you're lacking resources financially, but do what you can with what you have. And in the doing will come the calling. The resources will start to line up for you in
Yeah.
your path, and you will be blown away because they'll be showing up and dropping in your lap like, wait, what? Like, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Guess what? Don't figure out the how, just do what you can with what
Yeah.
you have.
And so what, and Cherise talked about her own experience and how she deals with it. And I will be honest here and say I'm a little different. So, while she has been, my cheerleader, like, hey, do this, switch, change your thoughts, do that. I am one who will kind of sit in that. So, just being honest, I've been on this transition probably 3 or plus more years, right? When a life event happened. And so I'm one to sit in it a lot of times. I'm always thinking of how to get out of it. Like my mind is always like conditioned to how do I fix it? How do I fix it? But there are moments when you don't have those answers on how you're going to fix it. And so for me, a lot of times when life happens and those hard times happen, I sit in it and I can't see my way out of it. And particularly when it's life changing, like nuances are going to happen. Your tire may go flat, but when there are major life changes that forces you that really takes you to your knees, right? And Cherise has been my cheerleader in changing my thought. Honestly, I go to therapy and they have been helpful in how you change your thoughts and how you don't sit in those places, because that is of the enemy too, right? He wants you to sit and isolate yourself. He wants you to not think that you are capable. He wants you to not think of the new things that are going to come out of the ashes of whatever is happening in your life. And so, to Cherie's point, yes, you have to change your thought. You have to change the way you walk. And also remembering the why. Cherise talked about the why. It is bigger than you. Everything that we are doing in this journey of life is bigger than you. So your why, when you're thinking on those hard days about why you're being derailed, remember your vision. Don't lose sight of it's bigger than you, because your purpose is embedded in blessing others. Whatever vision you have, it's not self-serving to just serve you. It is self-serving to serve others, the impact that you're going to make, remember that when those hard days come, it is for you to know that it is bigger than you. And it's also to know that, and to help others come along the way. So it's not only for those that it's a teacher, sort of is a teacher that is going to not only teach you, but is going to teach others, those that have experienced it, those that are in it, and those that have come through it. Right. So remember your why. It is so much bigger than you. So Sharice, that is a great
I love that, girl. You over here preaching. I'm like, yes, girl, yes.
Girl, I'm preaching to myself too, because
you know, this journey is, I'm telling you, we are human. We get weak, we get weary. Life happens to all of us. And, when you think back to, how we got here, all the people that paved the way for us, right?
Yeah.
And all of what they had to go through, right? Risking lives, racism, all of the things, the discrimination. I mean, it hasn't gone away.
Right.
But think back to the early days and all of the things that our ancestors went through. They went through a hell of a lot, right? To get to just where they got to, but that then paved the way for us. So what we're going through in a grand scheme of things, like I said, it sounds so simple, but it is figure outable. We just have to stop being our own blocker in the process. I used to be a safe liver. And what I mean by that is I would stay inside the lines, and I tried to live my life coming up from, young adult, early 20s to be as perfect as I could be, right? But in the process of that, what I was really doing was modeling my life after what I thought was right, according to someone else. And so as I got older, I realized, oh my gosh, I'm lost. And who am I? Who is Sharice? Right. So I had to go through that journey. So I would sit with things. Things would fester, and I wasn't moving forward. And I think, and you talk about therapy, I went to therapy as well. I went to therapy for a whole year, and it was super intentional. And it was,
yes,
I knew I was dealing
too.
with stuff, right? Everybody, you have got to go in with intention. And it's almost like you're going in with a vision, right? As well. What do you want to see at the end of this, right? And so I did that, and it was painful. It was hard. It was challenging. But in the process of that, I started to uncover more and more about myself and what I really wanted. And one of those things was to live the life that I desired and deserved. And in doing that, it is not easy, but you have to take the hard steps. Sometimes we get stuck on the how. We get stuck on how all the time. But you have to remember, with faith, right? It's a faith walk. So forget about the how, because if the blessing and the calling is already in us, you can't worry about that. That is, we are boggling our minds down with something that really doesn't concern us. What we do need to do is take the step, and then it's the next step, and that third step, and that fourth step, and every single step of moving forward begins to add to us, right?
Yes.
All of that how starts to be figured out. There are days when I am stuck on something, and I might spend obsessively a lot of time trying to figure it out, but if the answer doesn't come. So then I say, you know what, Lord, I know you're going to show me what it is. I'm listening. Show me. I might go on a car ride. I might lay my head down on the pillow, wake up the next morning, and bam, the answer arrived. Right? Because I'm asking for it. I know I need some answers. I know I need understanding. I know I need whatever, but I stopped getting hung up on the how, and I got more boldly with life by just stepping forward. Forget that safe stuff that I used to do, coming up in my 20s that really didn't serve me. Because I knew I had something, I'm not gonna lie, I have something special. We all have something special, but when you realize you have it and you own it, then it's like, okay, let me answer the call of that, and let me move and not worry about how, but I'm a step. It's scary as hell, but I'm going to step in away because every step I saw that things were being added to me, and I was blown away at like the fact that, oh my gosh, that faith stuff I used to hear in church. I used to go to church. I was forced to go to church coming up, and you barely listening. So you listening to
So
something,
you
but you
think, but those
right,
seeds are there, right?
yeah,
So the
you
seeds are
yeah,
there and they show
yeah.
up when they
They
need to.
exactly. And finally, I started to realize what that really truly looked like in my life. And when I
Yes.
started to exercise it, so we have to be better to ourselves and not get caught up in the how and not try to answer every question, because that's really trying to achieve some level of perfection. And that's not what we should be after. We should be just after the commitment to the cause, and then watching what happens from our steps and our
Yeah.
actions, because it's literally, we're calling it towards us every time we move forward.
Yes. So, that faith, as you talk about that faith, right? So it wouldn't be faith if we knew the outcome.
Right.
Right. It wouldn't be faith if we knew what was ahead of us, right? Faith involves the unseen. Faith involves trust, and whether that's trusting in your spiritual, I'm a Christian, so I believe in God. If you have other denominations, whatever your spiritual aspect is, but even if you're not spiritual, you have faith in something. Right. So it's the
Right.
unseen. If it was known, if we knew what it was, then we wouldn't be calling it faith then. So, but to your point, Cherise, and being intentional about therapy, I know in the African American community, therapy is not something that people talk about. I think now in this generation, due to COVID possibly, or just the generation of allowing us to talk about that. And as Cherise talked about her own journey, my journey, therapy is not about the event that may have brought you there. It's about what you need to uncover for you. It's not even about, even if people are involved in the event that happened to you, it is about what you need to uncover for yourself. And so when I went into therapy, I literally, like, my first conversation with her, like, look, I'm going through this, right? But it's not about this. I was determined to figure out why, who am I? Why was I allowing myself to do and be things in the situation, right? And so I wanted to understand me. I wanted to understand why I made the choices I made. I wanted to understand how I was feeling and why I was feeling that way, and doing that work, so when we talk about not letting the hard days derail your vision, my vision was clear. Like, I need to understand me. Like, I need to understand who I was in that situation. I need to understand why I made the decisions that I made. I need to understand that I want my own healing. My vision was healing of myself. And that was my goal, so being intentional about whatever your vision is, being intentional about whatever your goal is. Know that when those hard days come, as you have your tribe, you have family members, you have friends, there are long lists of supports that are out there. You're not alone in it. And when those hard days come, find that person that is going to, as Cherie said, shift your thoughts, because she has been that for me. As I said before, a lot of times I will sit in and sit in my own pity party, right? Because I can't understand, I can't see a way out. I can't understand why this is happening. But again, that faith walk, if it wasn't faith, you would not, if it wasn't faith, you would know what the other side looks like.
Right. Oh my God. I love everything you said. It's so true. And I'm proud of you. I always tell you that I'm proud of.
Thank you, my friend.
When you are willing to move boldly in your life and take those faith walks and those steps forward, we're doing right by ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And if you are when, let's just say when, because it's not if, you face those derailing moments or potentially derailing moments, don't be derailed. See it for what it is. But when you face them, it's like you almost want to channel those feelings of like, come back harder and stronger into what it is that you are already working on, right? Literally, come back harder and stronger and just keep moving forward and stay
Yes.
committed to you. Remember the commitment that you set out for yourself. Remember, this isn't a perfection walk. You will make mistakes, and the mistakes are there to make you stronger and make you grow and better. So appreciate them and appreciate
Yes.
the lessons that you learn from them. Don't put yourself in a situation where you say, I tried, but it didn't work. Guess what? In the trying, did you give it all you have, blood, sweat, tears? And if you tried something, guess what? It might need a little tweaking. So don't walk away from something and say, I tried, it didn't work. Some things need to be tweaked in the process to tailor in a way that, okay, it's working because I had to make some adjustments along the way. That is called being open to those challenging moments, whether it's something on the job, whether it's a venture you're on, whatever that is. It is anything can work. It's just, whether you're able to tailor and tweak and like, okay, let me take a step back and let me look at that and let me adjust accordingly. But it is okay to fail, ladies and gentlemen. It is okay to fail.
Yes.
Entrepreneurial life, I've been after for many years, and I've tried things before I got into real estate that did not work for me, right? But guess what? In the process of those steps, it energized me to keep going because I knew that, okay, that's not for me, but let me keep my mind and my ears and because I was still searching for myself, right?
Yeah.
So let me keep that open, and thank God I did that. So committing to myself, being okay to fail, we just have to be okay. But here's what I'm going to leave you with. When you are in those moments, in those tough moments, I think I said this last week, but you have to, first of all, watch your surroundings, watch who's also in your ear, because we're in our own ears, right? So watch your
Yes.
thoughts, change them, watch what's coming at you, change that. I got to a point in life where I might be talking to my mom. And my mom, there's terms that us African Americans say quite a bit. If it ain't one thing, it's another, right?
You're
How
right.
often? If it ain't one thing, it's another. That don't happen. If it ain't one thing, it's another. Not for me. Not
Right.
for me. And I have told my mom, no, don't say that. You are
Right.
calling more negativity to you. And I'm not going to sit here on the phone and say, you're right, because I'm agreeing with
Right.
that for me, and I won't do that. So you have to watch how you say some of the things we've been saying for years that we were conditioned to say because that's
Yes.
what we grew up under. You got to stop that in its tracks because that is not serving you. Okay.
Yes.
So watch your thoughts, watch what's coming at you, stop those thoughts as it enters your ears. And also put on things, read things. Tashima said she loves to read. Read things if you love to read, or listen to things that will energize your mood, change your mood right off the bat. When I was going through that tough time last year, I had to literally tell myself, go back to your basics, Cherise. Pick up that book, turn on this person. You need to listen to this stuff every morning in your car
Yes.
ride, as you're showering, whatever you're doing. Keep feeding your mind all of the things that you need to be reminded of about yourself. And that, my friends, had literally shifted me. So when I came into real estate, I left corporate making six figures. My first year in real estate was not six figures. It was half of that. But after I went through that tough period last year of like, I literally shifted my thoughts, and I kid you not, days and weeks after that moment when I began to do the right thing by myself, my business changed.
Yeah.
All
It's
of the doors
feeding your
started to open.
soul. Yeah.
Yes,
So
feeding your
everyone,
soul as well.
it's feeding your soul. Yes,
Yeah,
it's feeding your soul and feeding what you take in, so you can shift those thoughts. And I will say it's not an easy task, because for me, like if you're sitting in that place, it's hard to see your way out of it. And so you intentionally have to feed yourself the thought, the opposite of what you're thinking. Right. So in that, but it's true. So once you start doing that and taking on that, you start to, like I said, you start to wear it. basically. You start to wear it once you start listening to that, feeding yourself, feeding your soul. So, when those hard days come, everyone, please remember to find that thing, whatever it is for you, to feed your soul, to feed your mind, to feed your body, so that you can keep pushing forward to your vision and your goal. Don't let fear, which does not exist and is not real, and is of the enemy, right? We are not made to fear. And so walk in that power and in the commitment to yourself and to your vision. So
that's right. Right. I'm going to quote Les Brown, and I think we're done. And Les Brown's one of my favorite speakers. He doesn't know it, but I call him my uncle, Uncle Les. But one of his quotes says is, when things go wrong, don't go with it.
That's right. Well, yes. So thank you everyone for joining She2She today in our second conversation. We will have more podcasts coming your way. As always, be you, be loved, be blessed, and shine like the diamond you are. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.